We are live. Yay. Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Funke Afolabi Brown, the founder of Restful Sleep MD. I'm really excited to be here today with my friend, Dr. Ude, as we are going to be talking about self-care and really how it impacts so many aspects of our lives. It turns out it can be a superpower to weight loss. So if this is you here live, I would love you to put in hashtag live. If you're coming back to watch the replay, definitely say replay and, let us know what are some takeaways that you get from this talk, because it's going to be so good. It's so good to have you, Dr. Ude. Can you tell our guests a little bit about yourself? Because I know I will not do it justice.
Oh, thank you, Dr. for having me. So for those that don't know me, I am Dr. Ude. I'm a board-certified family medicine physician. I'm based in Martinsburg, West Virginia. I own a practice, Apple Valley Family Medicine, and I also provide aesthetic services. And with both modalities, my goal is to have my patients not only feeling good, but looking good.
Now, who doesn't want that? Feel good and look good.
Yes.
I love it. And look good from the inside out, right? Because I think a lot of us as women, we kind of know how to put that mask on, mask on, and you never know. But how about living a life where you could look good on the outside, but knowing that, all the other areas of your life is well taken care of and you're paying attention to it, which is where I feel self-care comes to play a big, big role. And, it's become such a buzzword nowadays. Everybody's talking about self-care is not all sorts of things, which, I think there's definitely truth in it. I think there's a balance, right? Because you don't want to become that person who becomes so obsessed with yourself that you don't care about others, but then also you can't, like what they say, you can't pour out of an empty cup. So there's a real true balance. And so the focus is that hopefully when we do take care of ourselves, this one body, this one mind, this one spirit we have, we then can serve our generation for much longer, right? And so I think that's where I think it's so important. So how about we start from the very beginning? What is self-care and why is it such a big buzzword nowadays?
So for me, self-care is anything that brings me peace, that brings me joy, that literally just makes me happy. I think for me to live what I call a fulfilled life, it's a life of purpose and peace and, joy. And we were talking earlier, and I think for me, when I really thought about it, I feel like that purpose part of it, I feel like I always kind of had that, through my care and service to my patients and, my career. But I feel like, happiness, I've always been happy, but that constant joy and peace, I think that's that recently I've been working a lot more on. And I feel like that's where self-care comes in. I'm pretty sure a lot of your listeners are high functioning, professionals, busy people. And so what happens is when you're giving of yourself, and obviously moms, you're taking care of your loved ones and other people. When you're doing that, you're pouring of your essence, right? And to me, to really feel that is that, taking care of your inner self. And to me, it's mind, body, and soul. A lot of self-care, people talk about the physical part of it, which we'll talk about. But that, taking care of your spirit and your mind is also very important. Because when you really have that full taking care of yourself, then you can actually give more of yourself and your authentic self. So that's kind of the way I think of it.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I love that it's not just about taking care of, again, your body, right? If your mind is not where it should be, if you are not learning how to cultivate joy, then it's not going to last. Eventually we're going to be looking for the next activity or the next outfit or the next vacation. But when we start from that work from inside, I think that's incredible. One thing I just got fascinated when we were talking about this, about the fact that self-care can be a tool or is a tool for weight loss. I'm like, wait, stop right there. And I'm like, wait, that is incredible. So can you just share just some of your thoughts about that? Like how did you make those connections and just what kind of walk us through that?
Absolutely. So from my perspective, the things that we do for self-care for our physical body, to me, if it's done correctly, actually helps with losing weight and maintaining your weight. So when I think about it for the physical body, I'm talking about nutrition. Obviously, if you're taking very good care of yourself, you're going to be mindful of what you put in your body. So for me, I would say a high protein, usually plant-based is best, but I don't judge. I'm a meat eater. So, but things like, salmon or tuna and some of those things are high in fat, but they are the good fats. Lean meats, lean chicken, beans is in that category. And then obviously your bulky leafy vegetables. And then the one, big one that people talk about is starches. So for me, what I end up telling my patients is the simple starches, the processed stuff, donuts, cookies, those are the kind of things you do kind of want to stay away from. You definitely want to do that because they really don't have as much nutrients in it and they're just really not that good for you. So that's the stuff I would say definitely to avoid if you can. And then the complex starches, which are the better starches, like, oatmeal, sweet potatoes, mashed potatoes, or potatoes. Those kind of starches are the form of energy that your body wants. Now, you still want to minimize it because it is technically broken down into sugar. And then for my diabetic patients, those are the ones that we tell them to minimize as well. So that's one. The other thing is, what are you drinking? So I usually tell my patients 80% of the time, you do want to be drinking water. It's clear. There's nothing in it. It's when you take it in, it's removing toxins from your body. It's hydrating you. You can never go wrong with drinking water. And you're supposed to be drinking about half your body weight in ounces. So a good place to start is about 8, regular glasses of water a day. The only time I would restrict that is usually patients with heart problems or patients with kidney problems. Then you do want to talk to your doctor about that. The other one is physical activity. The goal is an hour a day. Now, I always tell my patients, come as you are. If you're not able to do an hour, for me, a lot of times I would do 20, 30 minutes. There's some days I can't get it in. I am running around busy, but you come as you are. If going to the gym is what works for you, then go to the gym. My husband is very good at going to the gym. Me personally, I do my YouTube videos, dancing with you just, you know what I mean? You just figure it out. So that's another one. And then sleep. I'm pretty sure your listeners know are well educated on that. Very important. The sculpting hormone, reparative hormone, growth hormone is highest when you sleep. It's the time for your brain to power down, clean up, categorize long-term, short-term memory, charge up so you're more focused and you can get about your day and get things done. So I think those are the top things. So a lot of times, and even sleep, if you don't sleep well, you crave sugar the next day. So if you're eating well, hydrating, because when you hydrate and drink a lot of water, you tend not to hold on to water weight. All these things, I talk to my weight loss clients, and I also talk to my diabetic patients that have diabetes. They're essentially, basically, that's a weight loss diet right there. So that's how it intersects from my perspective. Yes.
Yeah. No, I love it. So what you said about it, it's the things that we put in our bodies, we just have to be very mindful of. And I feel like that's the ultimate form of self-care, honestly. It's like you're guarding what comes in, because what goes in eventually is what comes out, right? So if we want our bodies to work for us, similarly, if we want our minds to work for us, it takes investing in making sure that we we stay away from things that are toxic to our bodies, that are dangerous for our bodies, even though they give us sort of that, dopamine rush, i.e., chocolate chip cookies. Let's not go there. There's this place in Philadelphia, it's called Insomnia, and I'm not, they don't pay me to say this. It's called insomnia cookies. I'm like, come on, man. And the idea is you can't sleep at night. You think it's the most incredible thing. Like, okay, let's just stay on course right here. So anyway, so you have to be careful about what you put in your body, except for insomnia cookies. I think you forget. I could let you go. Anyway, but yeah, I think that is just so key, and being intentional about what you're putting in your body. And,
Absolutely.
the same way we guard what we're bringing into our minds, right? We're guarding the relationships around us. All those things are ways we actually care for ourselves. And I love this. I love your spin on this. Like, don't make it complicated. Don't make it like, oh, yes, I go to the spa, or I love going to the spa, or I go on this incredible, exotic vacation. Yes, I love all that. But right here, right now, today, we can actually participate and we can actually engage in self-care. So thank you for making this really in a way that's very practical for people to take on. And so also with the one thing I also loved, of course, thank you for the shout out on sleep, right? Because metabolism, it's really tied around how good the quality and the quantity of our sleep is. And some of the things you said, like just hormone regulation, all those things impact our sleep. And so making that a priority as part of this regimen. And there's studies that have got there. There have been some really big studies that have been published in very known journals that talk about like this whole regimen in weight loss centers, where they're looking at how sleep actually impacts people's ability to lose weight effectively. So it is a very, very, very helpful superpower, a very helpful tool to use. So thank you so much for just sharing that. Now, one question I have for you, like, how does this work practically for that busy mom in terms of sometimes to cook is a hassle? And I wish I had a chef. I don't have one yet. But how do we make sure this is something that we can do in a, very practically? You have kids, you're running around, you get home in the evening, and you have to make sure you want to eat all this like healthy foods. You want to make sure that you have the balanced, colorful diet, because you're being cautious about what you put into your body. Even though after a busy day, your brain is telling you you deserve that, not just a bowl, but a pint of ice cream and a whole stack of insomnia cookies and a giant glass of wine. That's what your brain is telling you. And it's like, and it will be filling, and you'll be done, and you'll feel good, and you get the dopamine rush. So how do we then balance that, right? Between what our minds is telling us and what is actually possible and feasible?
Absolutely. So for me, it's what has worked is being proactive, plan it. Because the thing is, it's one thing to see it, but you have to plan it, then actually do it. So the planning, I think, is basically the key to what you're asking. So whatever is scheduled gets done. So if with cooking, that one is a trick. Definitely it's gotten better for me, but it's still something I'm figuring out. So for example, with the cooking situation, I tend to meal prep and cook on the weekends because it's a little tougher during the week. My schedule for meals, I make on the weekends. And so every day, I have, the foods that I'm going to prepare, or some of it has already been prepped or made. And so it's not really a guesswork during the week. The other thing is shopping for the ingredients for whatever I decide to make. I've already shopped on the weekend, so I'm not necessarily running around trying to get it. Now, being proactive, for me, I would say even talking about a morning routine, because all these little things that I'm talking about, nutrition, that's what we're talking about, exercise, sleep, you have to find a way to incorporate them in your daily schedule. So for me, how I'm able to get it in is with a good morning routine. So in the morning, I wake up, I might do some jumping jacks or lift some weights. And it's not something that takes long. I'll do, 10, 15 minutes before I hit the showers. So I do that. I try to drink a glass of water in the morning when I get up. And then throughout the day, I surround myself with water. So there's no guesswork with it. So exercise, that's one. Obviously, sleep, you have to plan ahead to get into bed early or on time, to be able to get to sleep. And so that morning routine, for me, and I kind of, when I talked about the recommendations and stuff like that, I kind of talked more about the physical aspect, but you were touching on, the mind and the spirit. So the mind, are you taking time for yourself, me time? Are you meditating? For me, I'm a Christian, so I pray. So in the morning, part of my morning routine is to read a devotion and pray. Then the other thing about it is, are you setting up your schedule with the proactivity to protect your time and that of your family? You have to make time for yourself. Time to just so today I'm powering down a little bit to take the time to take care of my mind, because I'm running a little bit low, and so I'm trying to take care. And so basically what we're talking about is what I'm doing. So you have to set up those boundaries for your time, to take the me time. The other one is also to protect the time that you spend with your family. The other thing I always talk about is it's also important who you surround yourself with. So if you have the wrong people, or you have somebody that, people you hang around with, and when they leave, or when you're done interacting with them, you're exhausted, you're sad, you're drained, you're unhappy, that is not the kind of person that you want to surround yourself with. You want people that feed into you, you're energized, you're happy. So that's actually a form of self-care, protecting who's around you. What's that saying that you're the sum of the 5 people you hang out with? So if you want to be successful and you have a place that you're trying to go, you want to surround yourself with people that are either there or are heading there with you. So that's another form of self-care. The other one I talk to my patients about is self-talk. What is your personal radio station playing? What are you telling yourself? Because your voice is the most influential voice to you. You hear your voice all the time. So if you're telling yourself negative things, I can't do this, or there's something wrong with me, it affects you on a deep level, because your subconscious is going to take that. So the other question is, keep it positive. Even if you're not feeling it, fake it till you make it. And so are all the things that I talk about. But I would say for actionable tips, you want to see it. You want to plan it, which is kind of what I was talking about. Have a good morning routine. It's not going to be perfect. You're going to have to tweak things here and there, but a morning routine that gets a little bit of this and that. And then once you plan it, you got to do it, because there's so many times you see it, you plan it, and guess what? You still don't do it. So you got to follow all the way through and do it. And then over time, it will get better and better. But those are the things that I figured out and I'm working on, and it's made an amazing difference for me personally. So yes.
Yeah, no, I really like that. I like that approach about making sure your mind, right? We have our bodies. My belief too as a Christian is you're a spirit, you have a soul, and you live in a body. You have to take care of those things. And so based on what you're feeding your mind with, are you making sure you're engaging in personal development? Are you making sure that you're connected to, to God? Are you praying? Whatever that looks like for you, having that time set. And all these things do not happen automatically. And I love what you're doing, living by that example. You also have to check in with yourself, right, from time to time and say, how am I doing? How is Funke doing? How is Dr. Ude doing? Is everything okay? What else can I do? Because when we don't do that, we just burn out, and it looks like we've been hit by a ton of bricks, right? But then a lot of times there are telltale signs along the way, like you're starting to feel that fatigue, you're starting to feel that lack of motivation, you're starting to feel that exhaustion, or you're moody or cranky, yelling at the kids, electing to eat more, more of your fair share size of insomnia cookies, stuff like that. So they're telltale signs, but it takes really stopping and being mindful. And then based on that, you can decide, okay, maybe I just need to unplug for a little bit. Maybe I need to cut off from certain companies, like you said, that are just not feeding me, not adding value, or even leaving me worse than I am. And so I think that's just I love this whole very holistic perspective that you've put on it. So how about those other things? Vacation, going on a weekend trip with the girls, the spas, the manicures, pedicures, where does that all fit in?
So I tend to do those a little bit ahead of time. So I wasn't doing that for a long time, but now ahead of time, like this year, I already, penciled in, time for family. I usually do a trip with my sisters. I have 3 of them. And then, I was telling you before we got on, I did a Valentine's Day getaway with my husband that weekend before, because you know how the actual Valentine's Day is kind of crazy. So we did ours ahead of time. And then it was so good that we were like, you know what, we're going to have to do this every couple of months. But when you want those getaways with your family, with your, friends and stuff, you have to do it way ahead of time. So for me, already penciling those in now, I genuinely the block of those times, because if you don't do that, you know what, I read somewhere, it was so impactful to me. It said, your schedule should reflect what is important to you. So if you say your family is important, look at your schedule. How much schedule involves your family? And I did that exercise and I was looking and I'm like, there's something really wrong with this schedule. But a lot of, and so you have that opportunity. And so it's still part of that proactivity to look and plan and see. And so I did that exercise and I'm like, you know what? My family needs to be, because that's really what feeds my soul. So I would say those vacations, that they need to be done and penciled in ahead of time, because as the year goes on, you're piling stuff in. So if you don't, then it's a struggle to fit them in later. And why would you be in? They should be front and center. That's actually what feeds your soul. I'm happy. So yes, ahead of time.
That's good. That's awesome. Well, this has been so much fun. You've given us really practical tips about where to get started, even for that woman out there that may feel overwhelmed, doesn't know where to start. It sounds like a lot of this is about setting an intention and really following through. And, in some situations, you may need community, you may need, someone to hold you accountable to make sure that you're taking care of yourself. And then you also have to make sure that as you do that, that you're prioritizing the elements of your self-care that really does matter to you, right? So very, very awesome. I love it. So where can we find you? Any final words? What are you up to and all that good stuff?
I was going to say the key thing with what you were saying, I was going to say slow down to speed up. So, because different. So for me, anybody that is looking to connect with me, you can find me online at our business website. It's www.applevalleyfamilymed.com. I have a podcast, Weekly Dose with Dr. Ude, where I share medical knowledge for my patients and those out there that would be interested. It streams on YouTube, and then we do have a Facebook page for the practice by the same name, Apple Valley Family Medicine. So thank you so much. This is
awesome. And I'll put all those in the notes or in the comments, so that way folks can grab it. And so you guys heard her. She is living the dream. She is taking time out. She is prioritizing self-care. She's just not talking the talk. She is walking the walk. And I just love it. And so here I help busy, overwhelmed, tired moms sleep better. So if that's something that you're looking to really start to get intentional about as your journey to self-care, then definitely schedule a call with me and let's talk about how we can make this work. And it's been great. It's just been awesome having you on. Thank you so much for coming. And thank you, everyone. And until next time, I hope you all rest well.
Bye, everybody.